Some of us went to Essen in October, some of us didn't. But here are all the new and notable board games we played in the month of October.
Hi, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we are Box Meeples. And again, we're going to be talking about another month of gaming. As you mentioned, I went to Essen in October. You unfortunately couldn't come, so I think the play weight of games is going to be slightly off, although I definitely, when I go again, I'm definitely aiming to play more games at Essen.
So normally you talk through the games we played.
Yes.
You played a lot more games than I have, because obviously you went to Essen. Now, a caveat before we continue though. You went to Essen, but a lot of the games you played, you're not allowed to talk about.
Yeah. I mean, Essen's a 4-day expo.
Mm-hmm.
2 of those I was working for. The evening prior, on the Wednesday night, I was at an event for work where they are sort of showing prototypes and things like that of what might be coming for the following year, maybe 2 years down the line for by the time it's translated into English.
Yep.
So obviously there's quite a few games there which, practically signed an NDA. Not quite, but good enough.
We still have a lot to talk about, so let's get straight into it. So you've been playing a game called Similo. We played it together. It's the first thing you played when you got back from Essen.
Yes, well, it's one of those games where they've done it in previous years. If you buy from certain different stands, I think a lot of different companies sort of come together and then they create a version for that year's spiel. And this version was all about board games, so that was fun. So there's a lot of different companies that had games that were launching. Most of them can be seen in this game of Similo. And it seemed like, we hadn't seen each other for a few days. You picked me up from the airport. It was the one thing that we could sort of get out the box and think, we'll play this then. Yeah.
I'd never played these games. So it's been a while, a series around for a while. They do lots of different themes of it, but it's kind of it's a game I've never really played before.
Oh, I thought it was quite fun. You lay out the cards and you basically then have to show a card from your hand and say whether it's similar to that card or not, and then from that your opponent has to sort of eliminate other choices, and you hope that the card that they're looking for is the one that they go for in the end. And obviously the more you eliminate, the tougher it gets, because they've all got forests in the background with a creature in the front, or and that's obviously the clues that you've sort of deduced from what's been given already. All the sort of cities have gone, all the ones with humans in the front have gone, and you're thinking, oh, I don't know how to choose between the two of them now. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was quick.
Reminds me a lot of kind of those coding pictures, particularly.
It's certainly a game that you can play with people that don't play board games.
Oh yeah, because the theme, they do lots of different themes, and it was nice to have a special. And all the games obviously released around the Essen time. They're all featured at Essen, so it's nice to have a kind of a memento of all the things that were there.
Yeah, and then you end up flicking through and thinking, oh, I didn't get time to go to that.
One game you did get a lot of time to play was Dragon Keepers.
Yes, I love Dragon Keepers. It's one of the new, it launched at Essen from Kosmos, and you have these cute little baby dragons, and you're trying to sort of nurse them and sort of bring them up. And you're sort of basically set collecting, but there's a lot of extra little rules there that are going to allow you to place them in different numbers. Once you lay them out, you don't just keep laying this set of this and this set of this and this set and this. You lay them in colour sections, and once you've surrounded a colour, you've blocked that one off. So you're kind of trying to work out what colours you're going for. If you put all 4 colours down, then you get a special extra point, 16 extra points. But obviously that does limit them what you can do in the future.
Of what you can place.
If you get tokens with extra eggs, if you have the most eggs, you get extra points. Like, there's loads of different ways to score extra points in this game, and there's very much a sort of cat and mouse in terms of, when you start the game, all of the points are really low that you're collecting for laying down, and they get higher and higher as the game goes. So do you hold fire and not really lay anything at the beginning? but then you've got to be able to lay them at the end to then be able to catch up on everyone else who's got all these sort of amulets set out. So there's a lot of choices to make. The artwork's gorgeous, and again, it's one like we would play together. You could play with families and stuff.
But we're quite lucky because you've got an early copy of it, so we've been playing it now for a couple of months actually. We played it with children, we played it with people who are new to board games, we played it with very kind of board game veterans, and everyone's kind of really enjoyed this. So I hope this does really well because it's a really great game.
Yeah, it's really cute, and it's not too big a box, so it is easy to pop in a bag or something and take away.
You got to play the game Fork. Now, you played this with Bonzinator, who's the most wonderful person, and you got to meet her. And she's supported us for years now. She's one of the first people who did a kind of collaboration video of us.
Yeah, she did one of the like question ask things, one of the first people to do it. So it was really nice to actually meet her in person.
One of our favourite board game Twitch streamers, without
just
a doubt.
So much energy, so much fun and joy that she brings to the hobby. So yeah.
And you got to meet her and play a game.
Yes, and we played Fork a couple of times. Fork is sort of short for fox, owl, rabbit, kale. And so you're basically laying your hand, and obviously the fox can eat the owl can eat the rabbit, or the fox can also eat the rabbit. You know, the rabbit will only eat the kale, and you're trying to win tricks basically out of it. She won.
She had played it before.
Yeah, she's skilled playing. But you kind of you lead with different colours for different areas, and then you're trying to hope that your cards fall your way. But yeah, it was super fun. Little card game, very travelable, cute art.
Nice.
But yeah, lovely to catch up with her and have a little chat for a while.
Talking about small, easy to travel with games, we've been playing the game Gingerbread Towers, which we can't say too much about, but it's a Christmas game from our friends at Dissent Games. There's going to be a video coming up very, very soon about that. So we'll hold fire about talking about it too much until you've had a chance to see that. But needless to say, we'll probably be talking about it in the games we played in November and certainly in December because there's a festiveness about it.
It does, hence the gingerbread. It gives it away, doesn't it? That little clue. Yes.
Yeah, you'll find out more about that in due course. In the meantime, you can talk about Akropolis, which is a game I've heard a lot about.
We've gone back to Essen. We left shortly, but now we're back to Essen again. And this is interesting because you're scoring points for different rules for different types of areas, and you have to have a tile that lets you score the points for each one. So you might have a whole load of like the bluish tile, and then all of a sudden you've covered over the one that allows you to score points for it, and it does nothing. So managing where your tiles are, and you're getting more and more for being able to be at a higher level, so placing the tiles over the top of the other tiles. But then, of course, in doing that, you are blocking off some of the other tiles that you've created and made patterns and are scoring for below. So managing what you're choosing to lose to then gain something else from by moving up a level was interesting. And you have a sort of selection from the run of which one you're choosing from. It was fun, quite quick, a little bit thinky. If you're into tile placement games, then sure, check that out.
I've heard quite a lot about it, and I think the kind of verticality of it all is what gets people excited. It breaks a bit from the norm.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing lots of fireworks in the background, we've decided to film this on November 5th, which is fireworks night in Britain.
Why not, right?
Celebrating blowing up the Houses of Parliament by blowing up a section of the earth here. So sorry if you're hearing lots of fireworks in the background. You got to play the game Art Society. You wanted to play this. If you watch the vlog videos, which hopefully you have done, you talk about this on day one. How you're really keen to play Art Society, and then you eventually got to play it when you were at Essen.
Yeah, so I had gone up into the press preview area and was looking around lots of the different games that were in that area and sort of clocking which ones I needed to see when I'd clocked off work. But I did get to the Mighty Board stand and get to sort of sit down and have a play of it. And really interesting in terms of the matching the different frames, but then not having the same sort of colours together, trying to really complete the puzzle and get as many things touching that are like as you can, but also filling in your little gaps by using the extra tiles that you're picking up. I mean, at one point it was like, I'm not going to be able to score this round, and it was my choice to pick the frames. So I picked it was towards the end of the game. I picked the biggest frames that I possibly could so that everyone could not score because I can't score, so no one can score. So it does allow you to do things like that, which, some people found it hilarious and other people were maybe not so fun.
Not
But
that.
but I thought it was funny. And it was the best move for me to be able to do because why let someone else score when I definitely can't? So
Score so no one else will.
exactly.
You got to play.
Most of them took it in good humour, to be
That's
fair.
okay. Well, it's from the time of their life they get to play a game with you. You got to play AstroNavigators. Now we've talked a lot about AstroNavigators in the past. I got to meet Vincent at UK Games Expo.
Mhm.
You got to meet him at Essen.
Yes, I was busy working at the Games Expo here in the UK, so it was great to be able to go and see the game out and chat to them, which I hadn't been able to do previously, and have a full game there. We've since played it several other times in sort of different elements, different modes, different characters, and we have got a 5 reasons to play out on the channel, so do check that out if you
Have a
want.
watch of it.
I
Launching very soon.
Yes, I believe it's launching. Like it might have launched just as this comes out. I think we're about a day away from filming, and we've obviously got to edit yet. So
It's one you definitely want to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
If you're keen to know more about it, have a watch of our 5 reasons to play.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be
But
one.
if you like a game that has sort of different mechanisms in it, if you like the idea of kind of space in terms of like looking at the stars and all of that kind of like the scientific element rather than the sort of fantasy Star Wars, Star Trekky kind of thing. We're talking about grounded in science here, and also doing things like set collection, and that it has quite a Euro feel to it.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
if you're into that and something that's modular and has a lot of variety in terms of changing up levels for different people that you play with, definitely have a look. It's a great game, loving it.
It really is, and yeah, we're very much enjoying keeping hold of the prototypes and playing it. It's just a great concept, looking at constellations, and then I love don't mean to give away too much of our other video. Have watched that, but there's a bit at the end where you travel to the moon, and that is so great. It's really fantastic. But have a watch of that video. Bonsai, you got to play Bonsai, which is on our list of games you're excited about at Essen, and you actually got to play it.
Yes, it was all the rave. They were selling out every day. They were one of those stands that bring in a certain number of copies per day, and then everyone is there, particularly those people that have passes where they can get in like half hour earlier than the masses. And there's people running to the stands to queue to get those copies. I was lucky enough to pick one up for a friend, but I didn't manage to get one for us.
So we're going to be inviting them over so we can play it.
Exactly.
I haven't had a chance to play it.
No, I really liked it. Again, a tile placement game, and you're building out your bonsai tree, and depending on whether you're putting flowers or fruit on depends on how sort of open the leaves need to be on the bonsai that you've built next to it in order to score points from it. And what's interesting about it is that what you're gathering in terms of resources or what special skills and upgrades you're getting is that there's these cards to the side, which I don't think I showed on the Essen footage, but you're drafting one of these cards at the beginning of your turn, which is allowing you to either gain those resources or maybe hold more resources than you previously could, or maybe do something else. And then as you build out this bonsai, you get better and better at building it. And you're able to pick up some of the scorecards, like I think that I picked up one for the fruit because I had a certain number of fruit. And it's definitely one I had to sort of speed play it because I was due to be at a meeting shortly after that. But so everyone was very kind and sort of we were running through the moves to get through it. But it's one that I'd like to sit down and slowly play through, take my time and play again and again. It looked really lovely. I knew that I'd sort of liked the idea of it, but I was surprised I liked the gameplay more than I thought I was going to, which is always a nice surprise.
That's a positive outcome, really.
Yeah.
It's better that way than the other way.
Well, I think that my thought was that I would like the look of it, but it would be slightly more of a you game. I think you're slightly more tile placement than I am.
Okay.
Not that I don't like them, but I think you gravitate them a bit more than I do. But in actual fact, I think it's one that, given the opportunity, I would add to the collection.
Tell me about Durian Dash.
Oh, gosh. I mean, Durian's funny thing, isn't it? I mean, I don't know if you know much about
I know
durian.
very little about.
It's like a fruit that you find in the Far East,
Okay.
and it's very often like places like Singapore, places like that, and it's very often like banned on public transport and things like this because it's got this awful smell
Okay,
to it.
I do know what it is. Yeah.
And this is a card game that's based on that. So you're trying to collect different types of durian, and then there are like the stinky rotten ones that are
Oh no.
yeah, they're in there. And you're basically playing a card that's allowing you to take from like one side of the row, from this street or from that street, and in a certain order. And then some of them will allow you to pass cards to your opponents. You're trying to ascertain what ones that you think that they're scoring points for.
Okay.
Out of the different types there are, but also maximize your points, any negative cards that come your way, trying to ditch them off on your opponents and things. Quite a fun card game. Yeah.
Now, a big hitter you got to play was a game I was really looking forward to knowing more about from Essen, and you got to play it with Ollie from Don't Be Bored.
I did, yes.
So,
General Orders from Osprey Games.
yeah.
A lot of fun. I mean, a tiny little board, 2 players, kind of
So World War
really.
II battle distilled into like a 20-minute Euro, well, it's a worker placement style.
Yeah, I mean, it's condensed down, yeah, but it's full of tension, full of kind of that tactic and like, are they going to place that? Are they going to play that card? What special actions have they got in their cards that they're going to do? How can I defend this? Like, there's so much going on and creating loads of tension in your head and between the two of you, and kind of scope each other out. And you know, there's some actions that will allow you sort of stand relatively far back and bomb across, or others that are just sending your troops in and then hoping that you overwhelm your opponent, because if you don't, I mean, everyone's dying on that battlefield. If you end up with an even soldier count on that battlefield, wiping
True to
everyone
life.
out.
It's an
Yeah.
awful waste of life.
That
War. What is it good for
exactly.
apart from quick 2-player 30-minute games?
But yeah, no, really fun game. Really enjoyed it. And the action cards that you get, or when you use your abilities to have extra people or extra things, or taking more cards when you do those things, is really key to not let your opponent run ahead. So you might have like a plan that you were going to do, and then you realize that they've gone and taken those 2 extra action cards, and then you have to kind of think, well, I'm going to have to put that on pause because I'm going to have to get the last card, because if they have 3 cards in hand and they can do loads of other stuff, I'm not going to be able to keep up with them. So yeah, it was great.
Now, we've been playing the Undaunted series recently. Really enjoying those. I think this is very much on my radar.
Yeah.
As is the kind of Undaunted future version, which is coming up.
Oh,
which is
exciting.
shown for the first time at Essen. Going on, you played. I don't quite know how to pronounce this. Milm.
Oh,
Space Agency. Cats in
yes,
Space.
Cats in Space. Yeah. Rhino Knizia, Push a Luck, Cats in Space. I'll be honest, I'm more of a dog person. So if it was Dogs in Space,
You'd have bought a copy home.
well, no, they'd sold out. So I probably would have bought a copy home, even though it's cats.
Oh,
I mean, I don't
fluorescent cats as
hate
well.
cats.
White coloured cats.
I just prefer dogs. And we have a dog, so it would be cute if there was a German Spitz in space, wouldn't it?
I'd love that. Nice, you can kind of
but,
get mixed reactions in the reviews I've seen for it. Where do you stand on the?
we had a lot of fun. I wouldn't necessarily say it was going to be like a hardcore gamer, like main event game. It's certainly a game that you could play with people that don't play many board games, or a bit of a filler. I mean, maybe it would go on a little bit too long for that, but certainly if you're looking for a lighter game, the playmat was lovely.
Yeah, big and long.
Yeah. And the push your luck element in terms of the dice, I mean, it did seem quite tricky at times. I don't know how people get up to the top of the track to be able to maximize some of those elements. That did seem like we were asking for the impossible for these cats to get up get up into space proper, like past the moons, all this. So I think you end up focusing on maximizing about somewhere between a third and 2/3 of the board and trying to get in that area to maximize points there, because you just think you're going to end up crashing. But I like that each of the cats have a different ability. You have one that's, even if you crash, is going to parachute down to the nearest place, one that can sort of jump up or down a level to be able to hopefully get you a better point or situation, one that's going to screw over the other players, basically. So there's a variety in the cats that you're sending each turn. I thought it was fun.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. Yeah.
You played a game that's definitely fun. It looked fun when I was watching the footage, as you were sending it through, and I was kind of editing it. Ninja Master.
Oh, Ninja Master. I mean, I'm a little bit obsessed with the itten games lately.
Yeah.
We played 3-second try in our sort of gaming weekend that we had prior to us going to Essen, which was the end of September. You would have seen that in our September one if you've seen that. And we also played Viking Seesaw there. So I knew I had to go to the itten stand, which then they were sharing with Saatchi and Saatchi and with Oink games. So, I mean, that stand was amazing.
It's a collection of madness.
Yeah.
The most avant-garde, abstract collection of games I could imagine ever being in.
Yeah, but I mean, brilliant stand. And so I knew I was going there, and I knew we kind of wanted Viking Seesaw, probably 3-second try as well. I mean, I think we're going to end up just sort of treating ourselves to one every time we see them, probably. Ninja Master was super fun. You have these like little hex grid that kind of counts like the dojo, I suppose, and you're rolling the dice in there, and you're then needing to take a certain colour. But if one of the dice sides is the wrong way, it's giving you minus points for that. So if you don't notice quick enough that you shouldn't take that, or there's different elements that you can pass around, like a little sword and things that might help you get different points. If you manage to count up the ninjas that are there and say the number correctly, then you get something else is going on. So it's very quick, fast, panic-ridden. I enjoy anything that makes you do a ninja pose before you begin the round. And obviously, you can go extravagant and you can start like, I don't know, whatever you want to do, you can just go for it. But fun, party style, certainly, like great to get out with families and stuff around Christmas with non-gamers and just have a really fun time.
And when you're there, you picked up Tiger and Dragon, which we played when you came back.
Yeah, I hadn't played it there, but we got to have a play.
Yes, we did.
Since, and it's got those gorgeous mahjong tiles in it, which is super fun. And interesting thinking, right? I know that, especially at 2-player, because there's tiles that aren't in play, and it's like, well, I've got a few 6s. I wonder if you've got any.
There's got to be 6 in the game. I've got 2. Does that mean you've got more than me?
Yeah.
Or are there some discarded? Where do I start?
Yeah.
But then if you play a 6 and they go, well, no 6s for me, okay, I've got you now.
Yeah, but then you think, oh, are they playing with me if I play the next one, and then they're going to come out and block me after?
Here's a 6,
yeah. It's a real mind games thing.
We've only played it 2. We're going to take it tonight to our games group and see how it plays with bigger player. I think it'd be more fun.
I really like how there's lots of different rules cards in there as well, so that mixes it up a bit, and you're trying to aim for different things to finish on different numbers as you go along. But yeah, I mean, those mahjong tiles win it for me. But big box for Oink games.
Yeah, it's probably got fit 6 normal Oink games in it.
At least 4, yeah.
But Oink Games are another company we tend to, like you're saying about picking up an itten game, we tend to pick up an Oink game when we go to these. And you've got some at Aircon, I've got some at UK Games Expo.
Yeah.
You've got another one here. So yeah, we do enjoy those kind of quirky games.
Yeah.
It takes a step aside from the heavier games we often play, and just often are just a bit silly.
And they're so good for popping into a handbag for travel, for holidays, for those.
Oh yeah, we've always got Scout with us.
Taking over to family for dinner, and you think, oh, afterwards everyone might want to play a little game, and it fits in your handbag. So if you don't bring it out, it's no big deal. You've not been games pushing on people unless they ask.
Yeah, fun enough.
Because sometimes you turn up with your massive, great big games. It's like, anyone for games? But if you've got a little subtle one in your handbag, then
just there.
Yeah.
Should you need it, it's there.
I just happen to have one with me.
I think you played Riverside.
I did, yeah. I played it solo. And I'm not the biggest of solo players, but I mean, I was taught it by them on the stand in order to play it solo, but they weren't playing along with me. They was teaching me the solo version, and quite a nice little game, like a roll and write. You're traveling around the river, trying to maximize your points. Where are you going to land in terms of what you're going to then score and things like that. And nice sort of little thinky bits about which options to take as to what to score at what point with the dice that you have. And it was quite fun. Another one of those sort of, if I'm traveling solo or something like that, I consider that. But because you can play at higher player counts as well. I mean, it's called Riverside, so
Looks
if you're near a river, that seems super appropriate for holidays, right?
looks slightly Christmassy.
Yes, it does seem like we'd be going to sort of see the Northern Lights or something. Yeah, it's a little bit icy. So this time of year might be quite a nice one.
Now, forgive me if I say this wrong.
Oh,
Volfyirion guilds.
yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try for that. Volfyirion guilds.
That's what I said. Pretty much the same thing.
I think maybe.
But you played it. You played
I did.
It at Essen.
Yeah, and it's sort of a deck builder card game that they were teaching me. You walk around Essen, and a lot of the times loads of tables are full up, and you're thinking, oh, I really want to get into that, but it doesn't look like any table's going to be free for half hour. They've only just started, and everything's a bit packed. And then you sort of chance it and happen to walk past another stand when some people have just moved or it's just cleared, and think, right, this is it. I'm playing the game. And that's what I did on this stand. And there was this table there free, and this guy taught me it's like the 2-player. I think it's a 2-player only, this one. And it's this kind of fun sort of deck building sort of thing. I quite enjoyed the art of it. And they were very kind to give us a copy.
Yeah.
So we haven't played it as yet.
Nope, but looking forward to it.
Obviously, my memory's a little bit faded because Essen's
Essen was a bombardment of lots and lots of games. They do tend to blur into one.
But I remember thinking, oh, this is quite fun. I'm intrigued to kind of really get to grips with it a bit more. So it'd be nice to get it out, and hopefully we can talk about it another month when we've played it together.
Next month I'll be talking about how I enjoy playing Volfyirion guilds.
Yeah.
So while you were at Essen, moving swiftly on, we played the heavy hitters. So I was at home with the children, and I was like, well, what should we play? And they chose Pizza Game.
Yep, of course they did. Of course they did. Everyone loves a pizza.
It's a funny little game. It is in a kind of an everything shop we have here in the UK. And we've adapted the rules since to make it a bit more competitive.
They did need a little bit of tweaking, because it's not the kind of game you would pick up from like a normal game shop. It's more commercial, and you've had to just make it a little bit more.
We made it more competitive,
gamey.
more gamey. Yeah.
And
it's much more fun like this. And we've made it so it's slightly scalable, so adults playing it have a harder time. But it's basically a memory matching game. We're trying to complete pizzas for orders. But what's great about it is, as an order's completed, you rotate the board. And it's obviously a circular board, so it's very difficult to remember where things have moved after they've been rotated, particularly if people are doing sequential completion of orders, because then the board's rotating again. It's like, oh, I remembered where that was then, but now it's gone. And yeah, it's quick, it's silly to play, but it's a game that the girls really enjoy playing. We played that. And we also managed to fit in a game of Rescuing, which you got for your birthday.
I did get it for my birthday. They brought it for me for my birthday, actually. And it's a very young children's game. But they saw it because it had a fox on it, and they think our dog looks a bit like a fox. They changed the whole of the box so that it was no longer Freddy the Fox. It was
Fen the Fluffy Dog.
Fen the Fluffy Dog. And basically, it's one of those games, you turn it upside down, you can fill in all the hex pieces, and then it creates a table because the pressure of them are holding each other up. So then you put Fen the Dog on the top, and then you gradually have to knock out with little hammers the little hex pieces of ice that he stood on, and hope that he doesn't fall through the ice and the ice still holds firm.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a very funny, silly little game.
Yeah.
It certainly suits very young
Very young children.
for a bit of fun.
We did change the rules slightly so you could move Fen around on the board.
Yeah, that
because
just seemed like it would add a bit more to it, because it was
a
obviously
little bit
meant
more
for younger
tactical.
ones.
But yeah, it's silly fun. We enjoyed it.
Yeah.
While you're away, we played Star Wars Rivals, which is a game. It's a kind of area control game from Funko Games with really cool minis. Now the minis are readily available.
Yeah, it was hard to get them to start with.
It was exclusive to game here in the UK, but a lot of the game shops we went to, because we really enjoyed it, didn't sell it. They'd kind of replaced everything on their shelves with cans of Prime, it seemed. So until it's got a more general release, we weren't able to get it.
Yeah, but now it is.
Now you can get it quite a lot. So we've got a lot of the characters for it, but it's a game that we really enjoy.
Yeah, they're really enjoying the Star Wars IP. So I think that really helps. And it's interesting the different power that certain characters have, and how you then use your most powerful or your least powerful together as a combination.
It's a kind of cliche to say, but it's a game that looks really simple to play and it's very easy to explain, but there's a lot of kind of hidden depth. And the more you play it, the more you start appreciating that. And it's nice when you play it, particularly of children, and then they start appreciating the way you can chain things together. You can do those missions if you hold on to certain cards, rather than just laying down, I'll pick up that card, I'll play it and see what happens. You start seeing that tactics develop. I've seen that a lot as well in Lorcana, which we've been playing a lot of, playing it particularly with my youngest daughter. And you can see her building up her own deck now and knowing she's very very much a fan of the Pongo strategy.
Yes, and you need to adjust your deck.
I need to, because
you haven't got any.
I have no evasive characters in my deck, and if you know the Pongo strategy, you can't stop Pongo unless you have some evasive characters coming up. So as soon as she gets all those dogs out, it's curtains. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
But it's great seeing those tactics grow in children when you're playing games. So you're back from Essen now.
Yep.
And we played some big games that have been on our list for a long time. We played the game Beast.
Yes, I was very intrigued as to what that would be, and it was sort of your kind of hidden movement hunting for this beast. It was interesting because there were times when you just felt a little bit tied. In terms of your capabilities.
We couldn't move enough. And it felt like we were often knowing where the beast was to try and catch it, but then not able to move quick enough to get to where it was, and it would pop up. We were the worst beast hunters in the world.
We really were.
The beast would pop up, kill something, and we go, oh, he's over there. We'd leg it over there. He'd not be there. It'd be somewhere else, kill something, and be like, oh, he's over there. Off we go.
And you knew you wouldn't be able to get there before like the end of the round, sort of thing. So in terms of being able to stop them from doing something, I don't know if it was a 4-player, so there was 3 of us hunting one beast character.
I don't think we were playing as a team enough. I think that was our downfall.
No. And I think they'd played at small accounts before and felt like it was all in the hunter's hands and the beast didn't have a chance. And then in this game, it seemed to be flipped over. So it'd be interesting to potentially, if we were to play again, to see whether that dynamic seems to change at different player counts, or whether we just didn't get good cards at the right times, and it was just an unlucky one. But it had interesting elements to it, but just sometimes when you have that kind of, I feel a bit tired, I feel like there's nothing worth me doing with the cards that I have here, none of them are going to gain me anything. That can be a bit frustrating. But
so from killing things in the woods, I've been trying to do some really connecting things here, to more killing in the woods. We played Septima, and it's killing witches in the woods.
Yes,
we played this actually on Halloween.
We did. I mean, it says in the opening thing for their Kickstarter campaign stuff, October 31st and all of this. And so, I mean, what better game to play?
That's what we played
then. I'd been looking out for it for ages, been following the Kickstarter campaign. One of our friends had backed it. I saw it at Essen in the cabinets and on the stands and everything, and looked glorious. And then we were lucky to go round to a friend to play it. And I really enjoyed it. The whole idea of the sort of witches, it seems like there's a lot of different paths that you can choose to go down. I feel we played a 3-player and I felt like we all did something a little bit different. And I like games that do that.
I enjoyed. My strategy was doing exactly what the box told you to do. I was going around brewing potions and healing people.
Yes.
I was a good witch.
Yeah.
But I do like the witch trial element of it, and how if you contribute your faithful to it, the angry pitchfork mob are going to be outnumbered, and therefore you're going to be successful. And then you can get a witch, which will help you for lots of reasons. It gives you player power, helps you score more individual goals at the end of the game. So there's lots of reasons to want to have these witches.
Yeah, well, I like the way that they're all giving you something different, and it makes those games feel different. I mean, I was doing really well, and then I lost one of my witches, was killed in the witch trial. And I think
she was a witch.
I think, well, it was a he actually.
It was a wizard.
Yeah,
a male witch.
And I think that happening is actually what lost me the game, because his benefit that I was having, I'd kind of built my strategy around doing that and double downing on some of the other movements that synced up with that really well, and then losing that sort of 3/4 of the way through marred my gameplay.
Right.
But I really enjoy how then having those different witches makes you play in a different way. As I said, we all played very differently, and then each game is going to be different because there's so much else going on, and you've got different paths to discover depending on your location, or whether you're wanting to go up that path, or whether you're trying to get more witches by going to the trial and have more on your board to then score your end of game scoring. There's just so much to do. It's definitely a game I'd be keen to play again.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I said, I enjoyed the witch trial element of it. There's two kind of modes you get in the game. We went straight for the kind of difficulty mode.
Yeah, I'd like to play with the animals. We didn't do that
Did
element.
the expansion though, but adds a board to it. Which I couldn't take advantage of. But I think if you play board games regularly, to go straight in on that level, because it adds quite a lot to the game.
Yeah.
So my game of the month was Overboss, which I've been kind of obsessively playing. I've really found it again. I just really enjoyed it again. I really enjoyed it solo. And I know Overboss Duel is on the horizon. I think it's available in America, not available over here just yet. Will be available at some point in November, so I'll be getting that.
Yes.
But yeah, I just really enjoy Overboss solo. There's a really good version of it coming up on Steam. I've got like a demo version. I've got an early access version of it. So I've been playing that quite a lot. And then when you play it solo, it's quite quick to play. I just kind of leave the board set up and come down, play a round of it, play a board of it, and then leave it and then come back to it. So that was my game of the month. But we haven't actually played it together.
No, we haven't.
It's been me playing Overboss solo. However, if we had played a game a second time, it definitely would have been my game of the month. Spoiler warning for next month, and that is Tamashii. So this arrived. We're really lucky, actually. In the UK, it arrived before other people.
Right.
In America, it's only just arrived. And so it's an Awaken Realms Lights game. And I've been super excited about this.
Yeah, I mean, you've been prepping for this. I mean, it's the reason you started painting again, really. Like the moment that you backed it, crowdfunding, it was kind of like, right, well, let's bring up my painting game because I'm going to want to get those those painted the moment it arrives.
Similarly to Distilled, I've been following very closely the kind of creation process. It's been interesting watching how the rules have evolved, which is something we hadn't seen on other ones. From the original idea to now what it is. We've played through the prologue of it, and I really enjoyed it. I love the kind of mix of narrative and kind of more board manipulation and moving around and seeing how the augments work. But the reason I didn't pick it for my game of the month was because it feels too early to give a kind of definite opinion of how much I enjoyed it.
That prologue definitely feels like it's a learning game. You're kind of starting off and then it adds an element in and then it adds an element in. So in effect, we haven't played a full round, a full mission of the game proper as it's meant to be. So I think that's the right call in terms of waiting for Game of the Month and stuff, because although the excitement levels way up there, I'm really looking forward to playing a full mission with everything happening, everything going on, being able to upgrade, being able to choose all the different things that you can do.
We've really grasped all the elements of it. So the prologue is actually a really good tutorial, and kind of like the way Jaws of Lion's first kind of 5 missions were. And we've really got the game. We know what it's all about and how to play it. So when we enter into playing the next one, and what's really good is it's a campaign game Kind of. So you play scenarios, but that does mean you can dip in and out. So we can play it 2-player, and the success in that or the failure in that will open up different cards, which you then use in every other mission you play, every other scenario you play. So then it means that we can then play 2-player, but then we can then play it 4-player, and I'll still be able to enjoy the experience. I won't feel like a character's kind of under-leveled or anything like that, because you do reset to 0 each time. But yeah, I'm just really excited about it. I've had so much fun painting the minis for it. And like you said, it's been something I've been building up. I wanted to get back to that kind of level of painting I was at when I was much, much younger. And I'm really kind of proud of what I painted. And yeah, so I've been getting
It's nice when you kind of have an idea in your head of what you'd like them to look like, and they come out somewhat close to that, and you feel like you're happy with what you see on them.
Yeah, I've been looking at kind of them going, how did I achieve this? I'm really impressed with what I've got. And I had in my head, I wasn't going to do it in a kind of realistic way. I wanted to do a kind of ultra 80s neon style to it. And I kind of think I'll achieve that. But it's going to make the game, playing it, so much more fun having the painted minis in there.
Yeah.
There's no Awaken Realms game. We love Awaken Realms. Every time we've played an Awaken Realms, we've really enjoyed it. But yes, didn't want to commit to it being a game of the month after essentially only playing a tutorial.
Yeah.
So spoiler warning for November if we actually manage to play
the next one. Yeah.
But that's it. That's all we've been playing in October. I thought it'd be less games, but you've played a lot of Essen.
I did. Yeah.
Obviously, if you've enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing to our channel and let us know in the comments down below what you've been playing in October.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you're interested in any of the board games that we have mentioned today, or any of the ones you can see behind you, or any other board games, we encourage you to go to your friendly local game store to see if you can purchase them. And for us here in the southeast of England, our friendly local game store is Chaos Cards. They do, of course, have a website, so if you aren't local to us, then you are welcome to go visit that and use our promotion code that is in the description to get a few pennies off your basket.
Yeah, don't worry if you've already used a discount code that we've offered in the past, because we quite keep refreshing.
They do refresh every little while, so do check that.
So yeah, it might be one that's currently active but won't be active in a few months' time. So make sure you're using the current one to get 5% off a £35 spend. That's it. And as always, thanks so much for watching.
Bye.